Hello and welcome back, everybody. We're just going to jump right into it here. We are talking about Zelda Tears of the Kingdom,
Zelda,
because last week I called it Skyrim Tears of the Kingdom, which is not the same thing.
Hey, it's okay. You fixed it.
I did fix it. I am
and
accountable.
People still think you're stupid.
I will give a real apology, which is not, I'm sorry if I made you feel bad, but I'm sorry if I hurt you. I'm sorry that I hurt you. Yeah, that's a real apology.
There you go.
There you go, Internet.
Yeah.
That's
he
how you
fixed
do
it.
So Zelda got a new release date. It is May 12th, which is very soon. I thought for sure it was going to be like an end-of-the-year game coming November, coming maybe October. They were just like, hey, you want a like brand new Zelda game? Like a huge one?
Yeah.
How about like 3 months? And I'm like, oh, yeah, that'd be great. And they're like, okay, cool.
Okay, cool. Yeah. So I was looking into this a little bit, and there's a little bit of controversy around Zelda right now, though.
Is there?
Yeah. So it's come to the fact that like people were like, they're kind of upset that they're using the same map, and they're kind of feeling like, is it just DLC type of stuff? Like, is it actual like now? Nintendo being Nintendo, Nintendo never releases anything like as made as a new game where it's DLC quality. It's always new story, new everything. They've never done that. So I have high hopes that it's going to be a great game, just like Breath of the Wild. But the only thing I was wondering is that how the market's going with everything. It's like $70. Like, do you think that's a lot? Yeah. Do you think that's a lot? Like, I know that's kind of where the market's going. Do you think it's worth $70 and like kind of like letting these companies know like, hey, we'll continue to pay $70 for these games and then they'll just be okay with it?
Here's the thing. Games have been $60 or $70 forever. So like,
I remember when they were $50.
I mean, yeah, but like I've seen magazine ads that are like, you know, Super Mario 64 is $69.99 for N64, and then they drop down to like the $50-$60 range. But like, here's the thing. I paid $70 for Hogwarts Legacy, and for the record, we'll get into Hogwarts Legacy later in the episode. We're going to save it to the end because we talked about it so much last time. But worth every penny. I would double that. I'm like, okay. Do I owe you money? I feel like I owe you money. But here's the thing. So I get the people, the controversy, air quoting, the controversy around using the same map. But like, first of all, that map is legit, and it makes sense because it's supposed to be a direct sequel. So like,
right,
it is the same. They're using the same location. I'm like, it is the same location. Congratulations, that's what a sequel is. And they're also putting a giant floating kingdom above that.
Above it,
it's floating in the sky. That's where where you're gonna get new stuff. Mm-hmm. It's like, like I see where people would be like, well, would this be a DLC? But Nintendo has been doing DLC, like not a ton, but like they do Mario Kart. Like they would have just made it a DLC if it wasn't worthy of being its own thing. And like, you know, in the kindest way possible, shut the fuck up and just wait for it. When people complain about stuff before it's even out, I'm like, ooh, could you do me a favor and shut the fuck up? That'd be great.
Yeah, and that's my whole thing. Is like, when I heard that, I was like, well, Nintendo's never done that. They've never ever released a new packaged game and it's where you could consider DLC worthy. So I don't really worry about Nintendo doing something like that.
How arrogant is it to be like, we got the best Zelda game of all time, and then they're like, great, we're going to do more of that. And people are like, you bitches, I think you probably skimped on this. And it's like, it would be like if you went to like a restaurant and they gave you like the best meal you've ever had, and then you came back and were like, that was the best meal I've ever had. Can I have more of that? And they're like, yeah, in fact, we're going to give you more of the same with some extra stuff on top of it, just to like spice it up a little bit. And you're like,
Right.
The same,
but also
the same amazing meal. How can I trust
crazy,
you? And they're like, well, we just gave you an amazing product. And it's like, I can't trust you. I can't.
What's crazy too is that like, it's been 6 years.
Yeah.
Okay, if it was a DLC, it'd be the greatest fucking DLC you've ever played in your life because it's 6 years old.
Yeah.
So what the fuck?
Trust me, this is why, like, look, there's some justifiable gripes about things before they come out, like Sonic, when they were like, the design of Sonic looks terrible, and then they changed it to be much better. It was great.
Much better. Yeah.
But that said, for the most part, just shut the fuck up and wait until it comes out. Decide for yourself.
Yeah.
And now, so, like, that's why, like, a lot of people are like, oh, I don't really pre-order games anymore, because you never know what you're going to get. And that I support. If you don't want to pay money ahead of time, you don't have to.
Yeah.
If you want to wait and see what other people say, like, I'm personally a, like, find out yourself kind of person, because I find a lot of times people just like to complain about stuff, and I'm too old for that. I'm too old for complaining about stuff all the time. I just want to like stuff. That's why when we started the podcast, we were like, can we just keep it, like, mostly positive? Because, yeah, things can be bad, but also, like, I'm easily entertained. You know, I'll go see a movie or play a game and be like, that was pretty good. And other people will be like, well, actually, the mechanics of how they did this don't line up with... I'm like, oh, God, I understand, but I'm here for escapism. So, like, as long as you can present a good escapism, like, a good motivation or a good... I can't think of the right way to say this. Thank God we're not podcasting, or that would be embarrassing.
I know.
If you can just take me to a place and I enjoy it, and I can step away from, you know, the grind of day-to-day life, like, that's all I'm looking for. It doesn't have to, like, blow me away. That said, Hogwarts Legacy blows me away every time.
Yeah.
I'm going to just keep sprinkling Hogwarts Legacy and how impressed I am throughout, like, the next... This is not going to be exclusive to this episode. It's going to be for forever. Like, I will fully... You know what I thought to myself? You know, in, like, Last of Us Episode 3, when they're, like, kind of living a normal-ish life? But, like... All I could think to myself was like, yeah, if I had this game to keep me entertained and I was alone, like if I had no partner and it was just me, but I had like a generator and could play that game, I think I would be just crazy enough. Like over time, you know how you start to lose, that I would just like, you know, mentally put myself in the game. I would just be like, oh, hello friends, how's herbology today? And they would not respond, and I'd be like, all right, I'll see you in class.
You're coming out with the cloaks and shit. You start picking up frogs. You're like, this is my singing frog.
They like don't respond to me, and I'm like, I'm gonna make myself invisible. That's why you're not talking to me. It's not because you're a computer.
And I'm like visiting you in the psych ward. Like, I miss you, Zach.
Well, you got eaten by zombies. I mean, that's obvious.
Nah, I'm surviving, dude. I'm surviving that shit. There's no way.
So yeah, I know what you mean. Faith in Zelda to do the right thing, and again, they hit it out of the park the first time. I'm gonna just give them the benefit of the doubt at this point. Same team,
yeah, I mean,
same.
It's like you said. It seems like these days everyone just wants to gripe about something. Like they're never satisfied, and I'm tired of it. It's almost like when the Batman came out. Like we talked about this before, and I'm gonna gripe about it again. Like it's almost when the Batman came out, and you know Robert Pattinson was stated as going to be Batman, and people were like, "Oh my God, it's so dumb." But I'm like, can we just give it a chance? Like, can we just?
It's so funny because I remember talking with you about it, where I was like, how do you feel about like Robert Pattinson as Batman? Because personally, I think he's going to do great. I've seen him in a bunch of like smaller projects. I've seen him flex his acting muscles, and I think he's going to. I mean, Batman's a very brooding character, and you can make all the Edward Cullen jokes you want, but like he was also a brooding character, and like, was the movie itself great? I mean, that's up for you to decide, but. But, like, just being like, you were in a chick flick? No way you could be Batman is, like, the dumbest argument I had ever heard. And I was like, actually, if you've watched him as an actor, he's very good. In fact, he didn't like it. He agrees with you.
Yeah.
He also didn't like Twilight. So, like, you have that in common.
Yeah. Yeah. And I remember us talking about it, and I'm just like, you were like, how do you feel? I was like, I'm just going to wait for the movie to come out. I was like, I'm not going to prejudge. I was like, I don't like prejudging anymore because it's stupid. You know,
it is stupid.
And guess what?
There can be some like telltale signs that you can use to like guide yourself, but like on the whole, just wait for stuff to come out. You know?
Yeah, exactly.
There's a song that I'm like pulling up on Spotify right now, so I can give him a shout out. It's called "Hating Stuff" by Ian McConnell. and it's such a good song. It's especially if you're like 30, maybe 25 and above, that it's just like it's literally like he goes through the song. He's like, I like playing Mario Kart with my friends. I like playing board games. I like doing this. I like doing this. And I'm so fucking tired of hating stuff. And it's just it rings so true to my soul. I'm just so tired of people complaining all the time. It's funny for people who just started a podcast, but like I used to be very heavy into social media, especially when I first started getting into voiceover because I wanted to make more connections and stuff like that, and just kind of connect with the community. I just have, especially with Hogwarts Legacy, this last like week or two, I just haven't really like even touched anything, and it's so much better.
Yeah,
it's so much nicer to just like now follow us on Instagram, Roll4NerdyCheck. No, but genuinely, like I used to interact with social media a lot, and I think I didn't even realize I was carrying that burden around with me. And now I still do stuff, but like when I want to talk to people, I just text them. If I want to connect with people, like I will, and like I still scroll for like memes and stuff like that. Especially I have ADHD, so like scrolling through my phone is like a given. But like on the whole, I've stopped like interacting with social media, and I try to like, especially like news and stuff lately. I just want to be a wizard, man. I just want to kill poachers who are trying to take fantastic beasts from around Hogwarts. That's all I want out of life.
And I know what you're saying, like with the whole social media. I was never huge into social media, so never got into that realm of like dealing with all the complainers. But with us starting the podcast, where we kind of have to have a social media presence, if there's one thing that I love about our platform is that we try to bring the positivity aspect to social media. Like we try to bring something that people can watch or listen to that will bring them enjoyment, so that way they don't have to listen to haters or anything. Like I posted something the other day. It was the new season of My Hero Academia is coming out, and it would show Deku in his new like full costume, and showing his power.
If like I have, so I watch sub everything because I'm an English voice actor, and so I support the English voice acting community.
You say sub or dub?
Sub. No, dub. Sorry.
Dub.
I'm an English dub person. I always mix them up. By the way, funny conversation. I'm not going to call this person out by name, but like it was very funny. This was an older story, but like it just made me think of this. I was literally I was having, I think it was like a birthday party, and so I had a bunch of friends over, and I'm like sitting there talking to friends about sub versus dub, and somebody walks in this room, and in the room, and hears us talking, and this person is also nerdy, so we looked at them and was like, "Are you a sub guy?" And he goes, "If anything, I think I'm a dom."
A dom?
And we were like, "That's not the conversation we're having right now, but good to know."
Oh my god.
So yeah, I didn't hear anything new. I guess I don't keep my ear to the ground as much as I should about like the release dates, but I'm like, is My Hero still putting episodes out of like English dub? Because I haven't seen it, but there's like more and more content coming out. And I'm like, is it just because did it just come back in Japan? And so we're seeing a lot of that? Or am I just like behind on My Hero Academia? Which is like great,
I think it's just
the
new season, season 6 is just the sub stack right now, like sub status.
Okay.
Yeah. I on Crunchyroll, I think maybe it's episode season. You know what? I don't want to get hate from people, so I'm gonna look this up right now. Yeah. Season. Okay. So they're on season 6. And let me see. Okay, so season 6 out. I remember. Now I remember. I think Crunchyroll has up to season 6. I think it's dubbed, and season 7 is coming out, which is going to just be sub for now. And then obviously we don't get sub.
I heard that there's like a whole Dark Deku arc, which sounds intriguing to me. I know nothing about it, and I like keeping it that way until I watch the product. Because again, the English community is always undermined by the Japanese or the sub watchers, and then the sub watchers are always undermined by the manga people. And I'm just like, that's why I don't like hear when things come out, because if I listen for it, I'll just get spoilers everywhere.
Yeah. But like, it just seeing that type of stuff that makes me feel happy. Like I saw Deku's costume and how crazy he looks with his I know. So I was like, it brings me joy. So I was like, you know what? I want to show this to everyone. I was like, I think people who are nerdy like us, who probably watch My Hero, they will love this picture I put up. And I got a good bit of likes on it. A lot of people commented like, it looks awesome. So it's just, I try to stay away from the negativity. So I totally understand. And Roll for Nerd Check, we try to not be negative, but sometimes it happens.
We try to stay
Sorry.
positive. Yeah. Speaking of cool news, I didn't even put this in our like slot of things we can talk about. But so how there's a new like the Avatar Studios, so Nickelodeon got Avatar Studios up and running because they were like, oh hey, Avatar's like, doing well and has continued to do well over time. So they're doing the new series. It'll be the continuation of the Avatar cycle with the next in line, which will be an earthbending Avatar. They announced that it sounds like that franchise is also going to be getting a movie. So like we're getting a Zuko movie. We're getting I think like a adultier 20s, 30s version of the gang. But now they've also announced that earthbending series will have a movie afterwards that will be animated like a normal franchise, and it will be in theater movie, not like a streaming movie, but like it's going to theaters, which I think is really, really cool. Yeah, I'm just saying, Nickelodeon, if you're listening, I would make an excellent Earthbender voice. I could be the Avatar. I know a lot of the lore. Right. I read the book. Anyway, sorry, just a little plug.
Okay,
you never know who's listening.
How about this? No pressure. But show Nickelodeon some chops right now.
Yeah, Nickelodeon, shout out for creating one of the greatest franchises of all time. And
give us an Avatar line.
Give us an Avatar line? Oh,
yeah, come on.
It's going to be so yelly.
Okay, fine. You're right. I don't want to edit that. I don't want to have to edit and bring your vocals down. So let's maybe not do that.
Hey, what did one? How does this one go? We're sticking with the theme of earthbending here. What did one? I can't remember.
Go on.
We'll just say what did one hill say to another hill? I'm sorry. When he was hitting on it, what did one mountain flirt with the other mountain?
Oh. You're looking rocking today?
No, but I like that. You're a Mount 10.
Oh.
Get it?
Okay.
Out of 10?
Yeah.
Get it?
I get it. I get it.
Get it? Hire me.
Oh,
Nintendo.
my God.
Or Nintendo.
Wow, you're definitely not getting hired now.
I know. I mean, if Nintendo wants to hire me, they can also hire me.
Yeah. That's cool. I'm actually... I don't know what I'm looking forward to. I'm really looking forward to the Zuko movie. That's really cool.
Yeah.
Because
I'm glad they
Zuko
got
has
back. Not that he's ever like...
Zuko is one of my favorite characters, especially with him having the character development he had in that series.
I firmly believe with my whole heart that Zuko's character arc throughout the entire series is the best redemption arc in any media ever.
Definitely, and the turmoil. I mean, if you haven't seen Avatar, you are really living under a rock. But
spoiler alert: if you haven't watched this show for the last 15 years,
yeah. I mean, think about like him being banished, and he's just angry at his dad, but he still loves he wants to prove to his dad, and then he runs a turmoil where he's like, I don't know if I really believe in this anymore, but then he still tries to impress his dad, and then he finally he's like, no, I'm not gonna try to impress my family anymore. I'm gonna be me. And just
I think my favorite thing about that is, again, spoilers, is that he gets his redemption arc.
It's been 15 years.
and he gets what he wants. You know what I mean? Like there's that moment where he's put to the test. Will you? You know, they did the like teasing of the. Do we turn him into a good guy? Do we turn him into a good guy? Maybe. And then he doesn't. He fails. He chooses to go back to being a bad person because it's easy and it's comfortable and it's what he's wanted. And then he gets everything he wants. He becomes the crown prince. His dad respects him and listens to him in meetings and you know, he becomes everything he's wanted before he was banished. And it's not worth it. It's not because that's not who he is anymore.
He's still not happy. Like he's not content with like what he has. He's like what he's still trying to like. He like finds out he's like I'm still missing something. He's like what am I missing? And he goes through all this turmoil where he loses his bending because of it. Like he forgets how to fire bend because he loses his will of fire. Like he just forgets like how to bend. And then it wasn't until he was like, you know what? I'm going to follow my uncle's teachings and not, you know, take the easy route or the route that I think is the easiest and go through my life struggling and try to help the Avatar. And then he becomes more powerful than he even was ever. Yeah. So it's great. So I'm excited for that movie. But I'm also excited to see the more adulty version of the gang again.
Yeah, me too.
Having them all together. That's going to be so much fun. Especially my boy Sokka, man. I want to see Sokka
I'm so mad that they never really address much about Sokka in Korra. Because, like, everyone, like, you kind of catch up with Korra a little bit. You catch up with Katara a little bit. You catch up with Zuko a little bit. You catch up with Toph a little bit. Obviously, Aang is dead at that point. But you still, like, learn more about him. There's, like, one cutscene with Sokka. And, like, that's all that was ever mentioned. And I was like, do you guys hate Sokka? What's happening right now?
I know. So what's crazy is that like everyone loves Aang, obviously, because he's the Avatar. Katara's cool because she's a great waterbend. Toph has that comedic relief. But no joke, I loved Sokka's episodes. Like him just doing his comedic relief shit was the greatest time.
My favorite Master episode is like one of my favorites because it takes the goofiness away from his character. And it's like, yes, he is a goofy character. He's a silly character. He can be comic relief a lot of the time. But also, like, don't underestimate him. He's a warrior.
He's strong.
He's a thinker. He's a planner. And he's like, without him, you know, they always make jokes about, like, oh, we got to stick to Sokka's schedule and everything. But, like, without him, and that was the whole point of the episode, is, like, without him, they don't really have, like, a heading. And it also shows that he's very skilled at what he does too. And I don't know, I just really enjoy the episode. I have like a headcanon that like, so you know, in the like the final the finale, like 4-part episode, he like throws the boomerang, he loses his boomerang, he throws the sword, he loses the sword, and they just kind of like fall down, but it's above forest, it's not above the water. And I'm like, okay, well, you're friends with an earthbender who can literally slam her foot to the ground and see like a mile or something. Like, I have a headcanon that afterwards he was like, can we go to the forest and find my space sword? And she was like, well, you saved my life, so I guess.
My favorite episode, note to what you were saying is like, even though Sokka he was the only one of the only ones in the group that didn't have bending skills, at least he had brains. Like he was the mastermind of a lot of their battle triumphs. You know, almost on par with his dad. Like that's where he got his like, you know, battle strategy from. But my favorite episode is a small little episode, but it's when Aang is learning earthbending for the first time, and they find that moose lion cub, and he's stuck in the ground for half the episode. That is one of my favorite episodes. He's like chilling with the fucking little moose lion cub. He's like bringing him apples. He tries to chuck the boomerang. He's like, "Go boomerang, go, go get help." Now come back, boomerang. And he's just like, ugh.
I just love what he's like. Aang, foo-foo cuddly poops, this is Aang.
It's Aang. Yeah. It was so fucking funny, man. I fucking love Avatar, and I'm glad to bring it back.
It's such a great franchise.
I'm hoping that they have the same voice actors playing the characters, and then we get to see more of Sokka's shenanigans, because it just makes the episode, it makes the show even just more cohesive. It's so funny.
Yeah, Jack DeSena is the voice actor for Sokka. He's also, if you are familiar with Dragon Prince, he's like the one of or the main character of Dragon Prince. And he's very funny. He also he works with, I think it's Funny or Die. He does a lot of like comedy videos there. And he's really funny. He seems like a super chill guy. Which is exactly what you would want out of your Sokka.
What you want out? Yeah, I was gonna say out of Sokka. Yeah, you would kind of want that. Did you watch the Super Bowl at all?
I didn't. So I watched the I went back and like
commercials.
found the best commercials, but I didn't actually watch.
Because I mean, we were talking about something funny, and like usually Super Bowl commercials are pretty funny. To be fair, maybe I'm in the minority with this. I only found a few of them funny. Like I didn't really find too many of them that funny this year.
It's funny because I feel like the prices on Super Bowl commercials have gone up dramatically, but like the quality of like entertainment. And again, I only went back and like cherry picked like movie trailers and stuff that I was more interested in. I don't know. I haven't been like blown away by a commercial in a while, and maybe it's because we were born into a generation and we're raised of a generation of like really weird commercials, like 90s commercials. Going back and looking at them, or even like 2000s commercials, they're objectively very. Do you remember Berries and Cream? The like Skittles commercial with like they had like this like little elfish guy. He wasn't like an elf, but he wasn't like not an elf either. And he just like jumps back and forth clapping, and he's like, "Berries and cream, berries and cream. Everyone loves a little lad who loves berries and cream." And I'm like, the whole time I'm watching it, I'm like, that is weird. that is somebody got real high and then wrote a commercial, and nobody was like, we should screen that. But like, and like at the time,
boss,
I
launched that. I launched that. What?
oh, you didn't run it by Tim or anything? Okay. But and then like at the time, I'm like, why do commercials feel like they have to be so weird? Yeah. And now commercials aren't weird, and I'm like, I miss weird commercials.
I know what you. So, well, talking about weird. So, like, give it props to Pepsi. Pepsi was like the one commercials I actually kind of got down with because like they had one of the Pepsi commercials I saw was with Ben Stiller, and he was like kind of going through like roles. He's like I'm an actor. And blah, blah, blah. And, like, they're on sets of, like, different scenes. And he, like, kind of reprises, like, little role of, like, Zoolander. I don't know if you saw the movie Zoolander. Where he's a model. Yeah. So, like, he's sipping Pepsi. He's, like, doing, like, Blue Steel and shit. Like, he's like, it's great. Drink it. You'll love it. And all that good stuff. And then, like, started, like, talking about, like, Pepsi and stuff like that. So that was, like, one of the ones that I actually, like, laughed about the most because it was just, like, kind of weird. Because they were he's kind of like doing like weird, like we know he's an actor, but he's doing like acting roles, but they're.
I feel like that's the new thing for commercials is like bringing characters that were like a movie character or a TV.
Yeah.
And then just like bringing them back.
Yeah. What's even funnier is that like they're kind of like busting the fourth wall of it all because like they're talking directly to the camera and like they're letting you know like I'm acting right now. So I'm like. This is kind of funny.
They like Tropic Thundered it.
Yeah, pretty much. And I don't know if you saw this one, like Popcorners. They did a Breaking Bad reference one where like, have you ever had Popcorners before? Like the snack. No. Oh man, they're super good. And like literally you have Bryan Cranston as where he plays his role, and then they're all like they're in the RV with like the blue bag of popcorn. It was like white cheddar. He's like, this shit is so. Well, he didn't say shit, but he's like, this is so good, man. He's like, don't eat your supply. He's like, we don't eat the supply. And then he's like, they're doing a deal for popcorners, like giving out. He's like, how many bags you got? He's like, oh, we got plenty. He's like, well, how many flavors? How many flavors? 6 flavors. He's like, no, we need 7. He's like, 7's cool. 7's cool. 7 flavors are cool.
Yeah.
So it was like how you're saying, like reprising those roles, like bringing something like iconic things that people have seen, and then bring it to a product. Then you can kind of connect with that product a little more. So. Those are the only 2 ones that I've really liked the most.
Did you see any of the trailers? Anything movie trailer wise that came out?
No.
Okay.
To be fair, I left like halfway through the game because I had to get up early for work the next day, so I kind of like left and like went to sleep.
They did a trailer for Flash, which it looks really good is the problem. And I am once again facing a dilemma of like, I don't want to support Ezra Miller, but there's also hundreds, if not literal thousands of people who worked on this movie. Flash is one of my favorite characters of all time. And I think it's okay to just allow yourself to be like, I don't support Ezra Miller. I still can think that they're a piece of shit. But also, this movie looks really good. It looks really well written. There's a TikToker, Straw Hat Goofy, who I really like, and he had a really good opinion on this, in my opinion, which is like you can still think they're a piece of shit and then also support the movie. If it came out that the like cinematographer was like a horrible person who did horrible things like Ezra Miller did, people would still go see the movies in droves. But because Ezra Miller is kind of the face of the movie,
yeah,
it takes on. And like, look, if you don't want to go see it, if you don't want to go support them, I completely understand. But also, I'm gonna go see it because Flash is one of my favorite characters. I personally think that they're gonna get rid of Ezra Miller. I think that they're like, guys, just trust us. We know. Remember, they did the bad thing, and then we did reshoots. We're not going to spoil our own movie, but we did reshoots for a reason. Maybe we're going to put Grant Gustin in. Maybe we're going to get a different actor. Maybe it's going to be like, oh, multiverse wibbly wobbly, boom. Now it's not Ezra Miller anymore.
You know who I'm excited? One of the big reasons why I want to go see the movie. I want to see Michael Keaton.
Yo, and it looks good. Like they didn't like fancy up his costume at all. They like
gave him like the same costume he had.
Like, authentic. Also, the Supergirl or Kara, she looks like the actress who plays her looks like a badass. Like she looks like she's gonna wreck some stuff.
Yeah. It looks really cool, and it's kind of interesting because then we get the actor who played General Zod again, which would be interesting to see that storyline of Kara and him battling it out. But I'm really excited to see Michael Keaton again. And they did a little thing where they showed you in the trailer where he's like, who are you? He's like, I'm Batman. And like, but he doesn't like do like the deep voice. He just does the Michael Keaton voice. He's like, I'm Batman. And I'm like, dude, it's so good, dude. It's gonna be so good.
Just keep it 100. You don't have to change anything from your original performance. We want you from your universe, like that Batman.
Which is great because I've seen the car. The car's there.
It's all like it looks all
there.
Man. The problem is outside of Ezra Miller, everything about this movie looks fantastic, and that's why I'm willing to be like, look, in this kindergarten world that we live in, where everything has to be black and white, there can be nuance to things. You can think two things. You can think that the Flash movie looks wonderful, and you can think that Ezra Miller is a piece of human garbage. Like, both can exist at the same time.
Right.
You can think Joe Rowling is a transphobe and also still like Harry Potter and support Hogwarts Legacy. Also, we're going to get into this right now. If you feel like you are working against the trans community by supporting Hogwarts Legacy, it is very important, because I found this out later. I didn't know this until I started playing the game. The owner character of the Three Broomsticks in Hogsmeade is a trans character in the game who is voiced, I think they kept their IMDb private on it, but I think is also voiced by a trans voice actor. So that is a big win for the trans community. That is a big win for, I mean, in terms of gaming, it is big for the trans community in terms of voice acting. And I understand. I get it. Again, if you don't want to support the game because you don't want to support Joe Rowling, that's fine. That's totally fine. However, objectively, I have played this game. I am now up to 35 hours in game right now. It is, even if you are not a Harry Potter fan, it is an objectively fantastic game. It is a wonderful game. And if you are a Harry Potter fan, it's near perfect. And the thing is, I think it's crushing right now sales wise. So I think that there is going to be a Quidditch DLC, because there's not Quidditch in the game right now.
Please bring Quidditch in the game.
But they have all of the mechanics in there to do it. And I think that all they would need to do is tweak it a little bit. But I think it's a no-brainer. I think the question internally was, do we release the game in February and then drop DLC in July or August for Quidditch and maybe some other stuff, or do we just drop the game in August? And at that point it's like, might as well just put it out in February. And just, it's just so good. And if you are a big Harry Potter fan like I am, there is love and attention to detail in every corner of the game. Every detail. I mean, I'm 35 hours into this game. I'm probably about halfway through the game, I would guess. I don't know for sure. And there's just new stuff just keeps happening. Oh, hey, here's a stealth mission. And it's like, oh, yeah, okay, I've done stealth things, but I haven't had like a specific stealth mission. Oh, hey, here's the, in the room of requirements. Cool. You can start getting fantastic beasts and keeping them in. I mean, and that's not a spoiler because it was in all the trailers and everything like that, but yeah, you can basically you can save animals from poachers, and that's one of my favorite mechanics about the game, is that there are two types of human baddies that you can like find out in the wild and whatnot, in the hamlets and in the forest and everything. They're either ashwinders, which are just bad guys doing bad stuff, and the other one is poachers. Like, what a perfect enemy to be like. Oh, I tell Bryn all the time, because I wear like black armor and a black cape, and I just with the cape with like a hood up sometimes, and I'm just like, Bryn my wife will just like, she'll like sneak in places. She's a monster too, but she'll be more strategic than I am. I literally will walk into their camp and be like, "Sup, bitches, you dying today?" I'm like, they're like, "Who's that?" And I'm like, "It's your death. That's who. You can call me the Grim Reaper, motherfucker."
I was waiting for you, like, "I'm Batman, bitch.
I'm vengeance."
Yeah.
Dude, I'm gonna start saying that. I'm vengeance.
You know what's funny is that, like, I noticed that they put poachers in too, and like even when I'm on mission, I hear people like in the woods or like in like a little valley area, and I hear them like, "Yeah, we gotta go find them creatures," and I'm like, "Oh no, I gotta stop you guys first." Like, I just like stop doing what I'm doing, and like,
the other day I was literally. So my take on the two situations is, you've just heard my take on the poachers, which is like, if I find a poacher, I burn them alive. I go out of my way to use burning spells or Defendo, which is like the cutting spell, and I'm like, I'm gonna burn you alive and then slit your throat, you motherfucking poachers. Sorry, Jesus. This is gonna make an explicit rating.
This get dark.
Fuck poachers. And then the Ashwinders, who are like bad guys in general, but like the main storyline doesn't have me hating them enough. Like, they're usually like, there's some side quests where you're like, they're kind of shitty, but like my rule with them is, if you're cool with me, I'll just leave you be. So like, if I'm walking through the forest and I see some like Ashwinders, I'm like, are you gonna be cool about things? And then they're like, get him, and I'm like, well, that's your mistake. Like, I'm playing on normal mode right now, which is usually my compromise. And this, one of the things I like, this is a simple feature, a lot of games have it, but I'm glad that this one had it, which is that, like, you can adjust the difficulty at any point. So, like, early in the game, I think one time I dropped the difficulty from normal to easy because I was getting messed up by this boss, and I dropped it down, and then I popped it back to normal, and now that I'm getting God mode, I've knocked it up to difficult sometimes just to, like, test it and see how it feels. And, like, for the most part, I keep it on normal. There's nothing wrong with gaming on easy. Enjoy yourself. So like, I'll just be walking around the Ashwinders.
Says like, losers. If you're not playing on extremely hard, then you're not even a gamer, bro.
That's, if you want to carry that hate and that anger in your heart, feel free, but it's not for me. I also won't fight wolves. I will defend myself against the wolves. I have a rule that when I come across, or they're mongrels in this game, but like when they attack me, I'm like, I literally will stand there. The other day I got attacked by like a pack of wolves, and I just, there's like 7 of them, and I was like, I'm standing in the middle of them, and I was like, we don't have to do this. We don't have to do this. You can just walk away. And then they jump at me, and I can like, I use the like, the Protego, which is like the protection spell, but my Protego has, I've leveled it up enough that like it will do a counter where it does stupefy if you hold Y, and mine does damage rather than just stunning them. It both
Yeah.
stun. And so I'm standing there, I'm like, we don't have to do this. We don't have to do this, guys. We don't have to. And I just like Protego as they jump at me, and it like knocks them back. And I'm like, you could stop. You could just walk away. You could just walk away. And they don't. But like, I will go out of my way to avoid the wolves, because I'm like, I don't want to kill the wolves. I'm out here saving animals, not like I'm killing the poachers. And I'm like, except those wolves. Fuck those wolves. So I try not to do that. I'll just like use Protego, or I'll like just like literally once I got surrounded and I was like, no, and I hopped on my broom and I just like floated away.
I'm not gonna front. I kind of kill everything.
Yeah, I mean that's fine. Here's the thing: I plan on playing this game through 4 times, 1 for each house. This first playthrough, I'm playing through as close to what I would actually do in these situations as possible. And then the next playthrough, I'm going to be an evil person. And I think I've decided I'm not going to be an evil Slytherin, because that's a cliche. So I think I'm going to be an evil Gryffindor.
Interesting concept. I wouldn't say my character. So I've come to this conclusion. I'm kind of keeping my character close to like the vest of a vigilante. He's not essentially evil, but he kind of plays that line like of a Batman vigilante. Like, he messes people up and he does some questionable shit, but he's not. Yeah. He still stays that line of like not being a criminal.
My character is, I mean, again, I try to keep him as, when it comes to like interacting with other wizards or like, like
interacting, I'm very
house
nice.
elf who I think is adorable. Yeah. I'm me. That's when I try to choose responses that I would choose. I try to behave the way I would choose. Same thing with like the wolves. I try not to kill wolves because I love dogs. And then but then I have like I call it Dexter behavior, which if you ever watch the show Dexter, where he's like, I'm a serial killer, but I'm like a good serial killer. That's where like all my bloodlust comes from, is like, it's like, oh, it's a poacher, I will wreck you, man.
Yeah, and that's kind of how I am. Like, anyone I talk to, I'm very genuinely nice. I always help them. Deke, I'm really nice to. So I'm really like cordial and nice to people, unless like they're a-holes. So
unless they're a dick, and then I'll be a dick back, because I'm a god in this game, and you will respect me.
Yeah, but when it comes to like the battle mechanics, and like if I'm like in a battle with like some evil people, then I just have no remorse. I don't. I just lay. It goes out the window.
That's where you get your bloodlust out. Like, you're like, I can be like, normal with regular people because I'm killing these people.
So I'm gonna say now, this is gonna be a little bit of a spoiler thing. You can skip ahead a little farther. I'll mark it in the video, but you can mark it full a little ahead. What is up, my nerds? Shane from Roll4NerdyCheck Podcast here. Realized while editing the video that all my audio listeners for our podcast platforms cannot see where to skip the episode to for non-spoilers. So, this is for you. Skip the episode to 49 minutes, 17 seconds for non-spoilers. 49 minutes, 17 seconds for non-spoilers. Thank you, everyone, for listening. Enjoy the rest of the episode. And as always, stay nerdy, my friends. When you get farther in the game, do you notice how you can go into the Forbidden Forest, right? Mm-hmm. And then there's a statue in like the mountain where like there's 2 blue flames, and then you can go into like this battle arena and you can use all the killing curses.
Yeah. You have to like break the bots to get in there. Yeah.
So I went in there for the first time, and dude, I went ape shit. I beat it. I beat it.
Did you?
And
So I think there's a few around, because I've done one that was like really, really far south, and I got to round 3 and I was like, oh man, usually I don't struggle like this.
Well, dude,
they're sending like 4 trolls at a time at me.
Yeah. When it gets like really low, but like I go crazy with those curses, dude. I posted like an early video of like me like getting through a few rounds, and I'm like, I didn't think like using the killing curse would be so fun, but I
haven't unlocked
fun,
any dark spells yet. I don't have any. I don't know how you get them. I'm sure I will come across them, but this is exactly what I'm talking about. I'm 35 hours into this game, maybe 40 to 50% of the way through the thing, and I haven't done something that you have done. And you got there in a third of the time. It's just how you spend your energy will continue to like unlock new things, and that's nuts to me. Like, it's crazy how much there is to do in this game.
I've been hammering out a lot of the story stuff instead of doing like a lot of side quests. So do you want to know how you get it? Do you want to know how you get it? No. So essentially, okay, I'll let you figure it out.
Yeah, I'll get there.
Okay, well, whatever. So what's weird is like when I was like in the arena, right? I'm so strategic on which ones I'm using. Like if someone's like really like firing stuff at me, I'm like, oh, I'm gonna use a cruciatus on your ass. I'm like, boom! He's like in the corner. He's like, ah!
Yeah, you wait there. Right. I'm gonna kill everyone else, and then it's gonna be just us.
And then all of a sudden, like I turn to his buddy, and I'm like, Imperio! And then he's like using like his spells to hit other people. I'm like, all right, cool, you do that. And then I'm like, Infringa. Is it Infringa? Yeah, like. And then I shoot like a fireball at one guy, like in a corner, and like he gets lit on fire. And then all of a sudden, like, and then I go back to the dude who's like suffering on the ground with the cruciatus. I'm like, Avada Kedavra, bitch. And then he like dies. I'm like so dark with it, dude. I'm so dark.
I'm bloodlust excited because I have Bryn is ahead of me level wise. She's been she's a monster. She's just destroying people. So what we like to do every like once a day or so, what we'll do is she'll pull up her character. She plays on Steam Deck. I play on Xbox, so that we can play on the couch together. And we'll be like, okay, let's do a stat check-in. What level are you? What's your health at? What's your attack at? What's your defense at? And she's always like a level ahead of me. She lapped me at one point and got 2 levels ahead of me, but then she had to do like homework, and I was like, and I just killed a bunch of matchwinders and posters, and I caught up. So I'm still 1 level behind her to my knowledge. But at one point we were like comparing, and I was like, she's 1 level ahead of me, but she's like 60 points ahead of me attack and defense wise. I'm like, how are you? And she goes, well, have you upgraded your gear? And I was like, I mean, a little bit. And she's like, yeah, all my stuff is fully upgraded at this point. So I don't even know if you're there yet, but you can like upgrade your gear with like Fantastic Beast Fur, which you can get. By the way, just a shout out to, this is what I'm talking about when I say everything about this game is incredible. So throughout the area around Hogwarts, you can like find little hamlets, and they'll have like, sometimes they'll, not all the time, but sometimes they'll have like a shop person who's like, oh, I'm selling wares, but they tend to sell like 2 things, not 2, but like there are a lot of Fantastic Beasts, so like you can get like unicorn fur or hair. You can get like Niffler fur. You can get toad warts for potions and stuff. And that's part of also how you upgrade your stuff. Well, I love the fact that they didn't just make it so that every time you find a person, they just have everything. They don't. One person will have unicorn hair and a couple different potion recipes. This person will have Kneasel fur, and this person will have like a ash feather of one of the birds or whatever. And they tend to have like 2 because they're like, and they tell you realistically, like, because a lot of time you get side quests from them. They're like, yeah, I need this for my potions, and I tend to have leftover ingredients, so I sell them separately. And so it's really smart because then game mechanic wise, you have to go across the whole area if you want to buy stuff, or you get the room of requirement extension where you can put beasts in and everything like that, and you can get them via that method as well. But if you're like Bryn, who's just like running around wrecking people in the forest all day, she'll occasionally come across these vendors, buy the stuff, and then she just upgrades her gear. So her gear was like way more upgraded than mine. So like last night, for the first time, I went around and tried to like find a couple of them at the hamlets, buy the stuff. I put a bunch of beasts in my room of requirement, and so like I upgraded a bunch of my gear, and I was already kind of a monster, like the nightmare of these poachers. And like I am Batman to them because I'm just running around in a black like battle armor and
please don't kill me,
and I'm just like walking into their camp. Yeah, like, please don't kill me, 5th year Hogwarts student. I don't know how you are so devastatingly powerful. Oh, and speaking of that, the ancient magic spells, when you can just like one-shot them, it's my favorite thing on the planet is to do it. I think they only do it with the goblins, where you literally pick up a person and then they just slam them into the ground repeatedly.
I love that, dude.
It's so satisfying. That and the lightning, where you're like, boosh, and it's just like one shots, like Pikachu, use thunder, goosh.
Yeah.
I will say though, I do get a chuckle every time I turn somebody into a chicken, and I'm like, I guess you're just stuck like that now. I assume my character's gonna eat you at some point.
Yeah. So we'll go back to this is non-spoilers here. So that way I know.
Welcome back.
Yeah, welcome back. Sorry. That's funny you said it because like with you having like the like the ancient magic spells, but I love the mechanics of where you can grab objects with your wand. With it, like it's an extra mechanic in your battle style, to where like if you're like stuck, you're waiting for your magic to build up, like stamina wise, come back. You just have things you can grab and throw, which is so
you could just be like, oh, here's an explosive barrel, whoosh, and just like chuck it, and it doesn't count as like one of your spells. It's just like a mechanic that you can use.
Isn't a mechanic
also,
thing, yeah.
Quality of life thing, and it's not a spoiler because like it's appreciating a mechanic of the game, but like it does involve spells, but you can see all your spells like right off the bat. So if you know how if you use like Leviosa to like make a box float so that you can like get on it to jump on something else. Yep. When you eventually unlock Wingardium Leviosa, if you use that, they merge the two spells. So if you're like, so if I go like Accio to one of those boxes, it'll be like Accio, Wingardium Leviosa, and the box will come to me and then float. It's so helpful.
Also love, it is not spoiler either, like, but you get like a tier box where you can create setups of different spells that you want. That's a great mechanic, which is awesome because if you don't, later in the game when you actually can unlock that part, just having to switch back between spells that you need to use is annoying. So,
dude, if I have all 4 of them unlocked, so I have like up, down, left, right to rotate in and out of, and even all 4 of those, meaning I have 16 spell slots, it's never enough. It's not enough, yeah. I always am like, cool, this should be good. And then they're like, you need your frost spell. And I'm like, God damn it, I never used the frost spell.
Yeah. There's one mechanic that I want to hit on, and it's so I spent so much time in there. You'll appreciate it. The room of requirement, man. The amount of design you can do in this room is unbelievable. I spent a whole 2 hours in the room of requirement customizing it.
Yeah. And then
it's sad.
I'll tell you this. Have you unlocked the like Fantastic Beasts part of it yet?
I haven't gotten that far with it yet.
So that is going to expand it even further.
Oh,
and
God.
then it just I think I'm not done the game. I think it's going to expand in a dip. So like I have expanded the room into like you get like I'm not gonna even. It expands the room, and then you get the Fantastic Beasts, and it expands the room again. And I'm pretty sure that I can. I just expanded it a 3rd time, and I think it's going to expand at least one more time after that. And then you can still change those things. So like the expansions, you can like make tweaks to. Like I changed it to be like, you know, this room is going to be this theme, and this, you know, my main room, I've like, you can like customize each corner of the room to be like, this side of the room is going to be like Hufflepuffy, and it's going to have like, you know, plants and stuff like this, and this side of the room is going to have like more books for Ravenclaw. But like even that, I have not unlocked half of the stuff you can put in the room of requirement in terms of like chairs, and you can paintings and just furniture,
like the transfiguration stuff, like where you can change the chairs, sizes, colors, you can make everything.
Dude, I have, so in my room, I'm really proud of this. There's a table that you can get fairly early with the room of requirement, which is like a little Quidditch. It's like a Quidditch display, and they have little like Quidditch guys that like fly. It's like, it would be like if you had like a model version of a football stadium, except it's a Quidditch stadium. But I made it big so that you can see it more easily, and then so you can like see them, and then like they do little firework displays every now and then, and if your room is set to be like darker, it'll be fireworks, and if it's lighter out, it'll be like confetti fireworks. It's really cool.
That's cool, man. Yeah, like I spent so much time in there like designing every inch and corner of what I have unlocked so far. And I just like, I looked at the time, I'm like, damn, I've been in this place for 2 hours. Yeah. I was like, just like designing it. I was like, I didn't know they put Sims 2 in the game.
Dude, it's crazy. We'll leave with this. We'll end it on this note. What is in the castle, your favorite thing that you have discovered in the castle. It doesn't have to be like spoilery. I just mean like the astronomy tower has like space stuff, just like you kind of you know how in for those who haven't played the game yet, you know how in like the Great Hall you can look up and it's like it's supposed to reflect the weather or the time of day and everything like that.
Yeah.
It's kind of like that, except they're like galaxies and space clusters and stuff like that are just like floating in one of the like seating areas, and it's super not spoilery. I came across that in the first 10 minutes of the game, and it's just but like every inch of that. So my question to you, and then also I have an unrelated fun question for you.
Okay.
Have you discovered anywhere in the castle that just made you be like, that's fucking cool?
So I see what you're saying about the astronomy tower. The only thing is, when I seen the astronomy tower for the first time, I kind of got sad because that's where Dumbledore died.
Aw, spoilers.
If you haven't seen the movies, so or read the books, come on now.
Yeah,
but
they do it very well too. They even have like the underneath section because in the movies he's just like there and Snape's like but in the books they like Dumbledore tells him to get beneath the like thing, and then he hits him with like a Petrificus Totalis so that he can't move, and that's how he knows Dumbledore died because the spell comes off, and he was like, that Dumbledore wouldn't have released me from that spell if he was alive.
Yeah.
So I think it's cool if they put that under place under.
Honestly, my favorite spot in the game, in the castle so far, is probably the room requirement for me.
Yeah, I mean that's
because if I was the character, if I'm in the game, I'd be like, there's no point for me to have to go back to my dorm room because this is my house now.
Yeah, I at one point I was like, I turned to Bryn and I was like, do we sleep in this game or do we just go hang out in the room requirement all night?
Dude, you know, that's funny you said that. Like, side note before we move on, but like, I noticed that. Like, I was like, do I have to go to my dorm room and like go to my bed and like move on to the next day? Because like I had to like go to a quest and it had like required to be like daytime.
Yeah.
And I was like, do I have to? And like I went to my room and no one's in the room at night, which is weird. So I'm like, where are the kids at?
It's so funny going into that back to that conversation of like, if I was crazy and isolated and alone, I could just like picture myself in the game. And then it gets nighttime and everyone disappears, but there's no one in their beds in the dorm, which is like the only critique about the game that I have, which is like, where do they go? Where is everyone? Because very rarely at nighttime you'll come across somebody who's just kind of like standing around or like out in the courtyard or anything. But for the most part, nobody's anywhere. And so like then the room of requirement happened and I was like, oh, okay, like don't worry, I could still live my crazy fantasy because I would just go into the room of requirement.
When nighttime happened, I thought like you would get talked to by like the prefects or something, and they would make you go into your dorm. Like they would make you go to your dorm room, and you would be required to like, okay, I guess we got to lay down and wait till the next morning. And it would just time skip to the next one. Look, that's like my only gripe. I mean, at first about the game, but now that I have the room requirement, I have things I can do, make potions and stuff like that. But
you can also skip time, by the way. If you go to your map and you click the right, what's the word? Thumbstick. If you click the right thumbstick, it'll be like, do you want to switch from day to night or from night to day?
Oh, cool. I know that. That's cool.
Pro tip. I figured it out the other day, and I was like, oh. Why haven't I been doing this for the entire time?
But I kind of wanted the concept of me being able to like sneak around with having a little aspect of like having the prefects look for me.
That is one mechanic I am surprised about because there is at some point, this is mildly spoilery, but not super spoilery. I won't tell you why, but there is at some point a quest where you have to like sneak through the castle and there are prefects like guarding areas, and so if they catch you, you lose the quest and you have to keep doing it. And I thought that was going to be like the initiation of like, cool, from now on you got the beginner mode down. From now on at night, if you're going through the castle, you'll get caught. Or like you have to be careful and stealthy.
Careful,
but it really
yeah,
was
yeah.
for just the quest, and then I could just run around the castle at night, which is fine. But it's so lonely. It's so
It is lonely.
quiet.
There's no one there.
It's
Like
such
it's just
a big
quiet.
castle. At least have like teachers and prefects roaming around, even if they don't necessarily like reprimand me. It's just a game that is so full. The castle is so busy during the day. At very least, you can have the castle be bare for all I care. Because occasionally you'll hear like Peeves, and you're like, oh, I'm gonna go in a different direction. Fuck Peeves, or like the ghost will run through. And like I said, very rarely, there will be like a character just like standing against a wall or standing in the courtyard or something like that. That's fine, but please put them all in their beds at night. It is disturbing to be like,
it's
where did
weird.
everybody go?
Yeah, it's weird because I was like, oh, it's nighttime. I was like, there must be in the grand hall eating dinner. And then I go to the grand hall, and then there's no one there. I'm like, oh, maybe everyone's in bed. So I like run up to my common room, I use a flu power to go to my common room, and no one's there. I'm like, well, this is boring. I was like, I want to go daytime now.
Yeah, please, when you, because I would not put the past the developers at all to be like, all right, we can do that. Like, I could see them patching it. Like, it should be that they, after a certain point, they disappear, because I understand they're not all moving into the castle. Like, although I have very creepily just followed people sometimes to see where they go, because I want to see if they have like a pattern. But yeah, just have them move into their common rooms when it gets dark, and then after like a certain point, because the game is keeping its own like time tracker. Have it like, okay, after dinner they all go up to the common room, and then it gets dark, or like after it gets dark, and then after a certain point have them all go to bed, and like at that point you can just kind of have characters like disappear, and then you only have to, but like what's the point in having like there's 6 dorms room, there's like a 7th year, a 5th year, a 4th year, a 3rd year, like what is the point of having all those rooms if you're not going to put characters in them? Like, don't get me wrong, also, I love it. I love being able to explore. I'm so glad they put all those extra rooms in, because it makes sense. It checks out. But like, it seems like a wasted opportunity. It's the only thing about the game that made me be like, huh, where is everyone?
Also, to make it Hogwarts like Hogwarts, I kind of want like the prefects to be doing something.
Yeah,
like,
and the teachers. I want the teachers to be roaming around and being like, get back in bed, go back to your dorm room. Even if they don't like even if you don't like get caught and sent back, just having them yell at you and be like, no students out of bed.
And you're like,
but they don't.
Fuck you.
And
you
like,
run.
Oh. And it's not a big deal at all. It is because this game is so ridiculously good and detailed and thorough that is why that sticks out, because it's like it is a fairly large detail, and they put so much love and attention into every detail. It just feels like something got missed, which is why I have a feeling they might patch that at some point and just be like, we didn't have time to like put that mechanic in.
Again, it's such a minute problem I had with the game, but like
it's not even a real problem. It's just like a mild,
like it's just
irritation.
like mild, like the thing I just noticed. But I'm in the rumor requirement now, so it doesn't matter. But I think we don't want to hit too much on Hogwarts Legacy before we start getting to spoiler territory again.
It's true.
So
but
you
by next week, so like we've given a courtesy. So we like covered it spoiler free last week. We're recapping with some spoilers this week. By next week, all bets are off. Like
all bets are off. Yeah, we need to talk about some stuff.
Binge the game.
Yeah.
Okay, I have a fun question before we wrap.
Yeah. Okay.
This was one of our like fun would you rathers, but it's not really a would you rather. It's just would you. Would you get $1,000 a week for the rest of your life?
Okay.
Which is $365,000 a year to do nothing, under the stipulation that you have to use a public restroom every time you take a shit. If you have to take a shit, you have to use a public restroom. Now that could be the gas station down the street from your house. That could be you can't build.
So you're saying I have to leave my house?
You got to every time you got to poop, you have to leave your house and go.
He called the shit poop.
He called that shit poop. But you get $1,000 a week. You wouldn't have to work a day for the rest of your life. But every time you poop, you got to leave the house.
That's a hard one, actually. That's a lot of money. It's a lot of money.
It's a lot of money. A lot of freedom because you don't got to work at that point. You could do whatever you want. You can spend all the money and time and energy you have on whatever you want, except for pooping.
You know what's funny? You know what's funny though is that like this sounds so weird, but like my body's such on like a regular schedule that like I'm usually but then I'm already working.
Yeah, between 9 and 10:30 is my poop time. That's when it's coming.
I don't need to work anymore because I'm making $1,000. That kind of messes that up.
Yeah. And here's the thing. You could take that money. You could go to a local store or like not even a store. You could go to like a place where you know there would be a nicer public bathroom and be like, I will give you $200 to like just let me in here whenever I have to go.
Dude, bro, morning. I would have to fucking pre-schedule morning time because
it requires a lot of your life to be rearranged, but you have the luxury of now not having to work if you don't want to.
Yeah. You know, me being me, I'm gonna say yeah. I'd take it. I might take the money, dude. I take the money. Fuck it. I'm public bathrooms don't bother me, so it's whatever.
Same.
It might have minor inconvenience, but then when I'm rolling in the stacks, who cares?
Yeah, like here's the thing. We've all pooped somewhere we didn't want to or didn't enjoy and regretted pooping there because it was dirty and gross. Gas station or like grocery stores. Grocery stores always have the worst bathrooms.
Dude, I'm working as a blue collar guy, working on job sites. Porta potties are disgusting.
Yeah. At least now I get paid for it.
Yeah, exactly.
And like, here's the thing. I didn't say you had to go to the closest bathroom to you. I just said you have to use a public bathroom, which means like you could find a really good like office space and again, be like, hey, I'm going to give you $500 a month to just give me a key to your building so that I could just, come here and poop whenever I want. And it's like, it's one of the, you gotta be a problem solver with your money. You're getting $365,000 a year. You can spare 60 grand to be like, I'm going to give myself the best chance at this public. Cause again, by public bathroom, what I mean is like, it just can't be your house bathroom. Nor could it be like an outhouse or a porta potty or anything like that. That's like, you can't be like, I'm going to put a porta potty in my mansion's backyard. Like that's cheating the system and I won't allow it. But I would absolutely take the money. And then I think there's an app that's called like rate my poop spot or something like that. I can't remember, but like where people will go on and be like, this is a real thing outside of like, where you can literally just go in and be like, here is a good secret poop spot. And I would just utilize that.
I don't know why I'm like already pre-thinking, like I'm like I have the money in my hand already. I'm already pre-thinking. I'm like, I kind of like might hit my local library right down the street. I feel like libraries have a clean bathroom, so
quiet. Not a lot of people are just showing up to poop there. Nobody's gonna question your pooping either. You're gonna show up and they're gonna be like, oh, there's Shane. He comes here all the time. And then while you're there, you don't work, so maybe like scroll through the books, the library, find a movie to check out.
I'll sign up for a library card. Yeah, I'm gonna sign up for a library card. I'm like Arthur. Hey, hi Janice, I'm gonna take this magazine while I go poop.
You know why? And then you just like slide her like $1,000, and you're like, there you go. This week, my $1,000. That's your $1,000.
Thank you, Mr. Smith. Nice seeing you. No problem, Janice. See ya.
Anytime. You keep my stall clean.
Yeah.
Can you put a padlock on it? I'll pay you $500 to put a padlock on it, and I'm the only one with a key.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, if that's a given, man, you're making $300K.
$365K.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Even better. So fuck
even better.
Yeah.
You just got to use that 65 to plan.
That's fine. That's easy. I mean, 300K to wet my butt with, whatever.
In my experience, because I've asked a few people at this point, when you ask this question, it usually leads to yes, but there's like, when you say things like, would you rather fight a gorilla-sized chicken or a chicken-sized gorilla, like that kind of thing,
right?
It's very like, you're like, okay, let me think about it. When you ask this question to people, you watch the wheels turn. You're like, $365,000 a year, but poop. How often do I poop? I poop about maybe 2 times a day. Okay, well, what bathrooms are like close to? And like you watch people like work it out in their heads. They're like, yeah, I think I could manage that.
Yeah, I mean, you're right though, because I was just thinking, I was like, man, I do love the convenience of waking up and being in my own bathroom. But then I'm like, but I'm making $365,000, so it's like, eh.
You're like, yeah. I mean, if I don't have to work for a living, I could figure out my poop schedule fairly easily.
It's so funny. That's a good question. It's a weird one, guys, but
such
that's a funny question.
one.
Oh my god, dude. Oh man, I think we're gonna end it there on that.
Right,
Funny.
we're gonna wrap it up with the poop question. Follow us on social media.
Ask your friends the poop question.
Ask your friends and let us know what they say. Comment on
Yeah.
this video and let us know what you would do and what your friends would do. Follow us on social media: Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, all of the things. Roll4NerdyCheck. And then you can give our plugs. I'll be generous and I'll let you do the expo or extra the end. You can do the end.
Oh my god, this episode is rolling downhill, dog.
We're a mess. We are
It's
professionals.
fine. We are professionals here. Don't worry. This episode is coming out on Tuesday, so you can follow. Check out all our videos on our YouTube channel, Roll4NerdyCheck. Like, comment, and subscribe. If you want to listen to the audio version, you can find it on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, any podcast platform we're on it. Also, we have sent out a new channel, Substack channel called Roll4NerdyCheck Gaming. Right now, I'm on there playing through Hogwarts Legacy. I'm kind of hammering out the story mode right now, doing some side quests. You might have seen me. You'll see me in episode 3 where I actually play in the room requirement for like 2 hours. So I'll have some skip points for you in there, so that way you're not like, wow, he's really just designing every point
This is
of
a
this place.
7-hour room of requirement customization video. Yeah, I do think green looks better there, Shane.
Yeah, so you don't have to worry about that episode. Every episode for Roll4NerdyCheck Gaming episodes come out on Thursdays, so be on the lookout for those. Other than that, stay nerdy, my friends.
Stay nerdy, and may all your nerdy checks roll high.